5, part 2. My phone froze and I'm not sure if it worked. So I will go back and make sure that does get posted. But we're going to continue. We're in our practice now, the yoga practice. So we've done some breath work. We've done a little bit of stretching. Let's continue. As we take the next breath in, we're going to rotate our arms overhead. Exhale, bringing the hands towards center. Now lengthening through the torso, we're going to twist to our right. So we let that right elbow go behind. The thumbs are pointing to the middle of the chest. So we start to twist over to the right. The gaze starts to go behind us. We take a deep breath in as we lengthen. And then exhale, coming back through center. And release the breath. Let's take another deep breath in. We're elongating through the spine. And exhale, twisting over to the left. Let the gaze follow if that feels appropriate. And inhale, coming back through center. We can release the hands and let's continue stretching through our upper body. We'll take next breath in, bring our arm up to shoulder height. We're going to gently pull that arm across our chest. So feel that beautiful stretch into the shoulder, maybe into the bicep, maybe even a little bit into the tricep. The other arm is at 90 degrees. Now we can start to look over the shoulder, gazing away from the middle of the body. And again, we're sitting beautifully tall. Now, like we did in the first part, if you were joining us for the first part, we said an I am phrase. So we're internally, we're just going to repeat our I am phrase. I am abundant, prosperous, peaceful, healthy, whatever it is. I am. We'll take one more breath sitting tall. And then as we exhale, we'll gently release, let that arm go, take a moment, shake it out. Let's do that on the other side. Bring the other arm up to shoulder height. We're gonna hug it across the chest. So we start to look over the opposite shoulder. Once more, those deep, full breaths, just like we did before, we're gonna let the entire torso expand with the inhale. And exhale, letting the breath go. We take 3 deep focused breaths each exhale, just letting that go a little bit more. And then slowly coming back through center as we let that go. Let's bring our arms overhead. Now, if we've got our legs crossed, they can also be straight, whatever is most comfortable. Let's switch the way our legs are crossed. So we're gonna balance that out. And we're gonna continue just doing those gentle stretches this morning, getting everything woken up. We're gonna bring our hands towards the sky. We're gonna interlace our fingers. And then we're gonna start to bring those palms forward. So we start to bring the palms forward. Now, if this is enough, great. If you're feeling the stretch into your wrists, your arms, perfect. If you can, we're gonna start to open up so the pinky fingers point towards the back of the mat. We lengthen through the torso and we straighten through the arms. We feel a beautiful stretch. Shoulders away from the ears, the chin is level. Another beautiful deep breath in. And then that slow, gentle exhale. Again, the eyes can be closed as we go through these poses. I am healthy. I am abundant. I am. And we let that go. We start to bring the palms towards the head. Release the hands, letting them come back down to the sides. We're gonna come back to that. But let's stretch out through the back as well. So we're gonna interlace our hands behind us. So when we're here, just sitting up tall, we're gonna interlace those hands behind us. It can be the same way if we'd like. We're gonna lengthen those arms so that those arms come away from us. We're opening through the chest. Do a little bit of a back bend, opening the chest to the sky. And then we're gonna fold over our legs. So whether the legs are bent, straight, crossed, doesn't matter. We're gonna gently start to come over the thighs. And let those hands, if it feels good, they can start to come up off the lower back. It's not important. And we let the head come to the floor. Deep breath in. Slow, gentle exhale. Another beautiful deep breath in. And letting that breath go. On the next inhale, we're going to activate our core. So belly button to spine, bringing ourselves back up. Sitting tall, we'll release the arms. Perfect. Now, wherever we're at, we're just gonna come through to seated. We're gonna let our legs come forward. I'll try to get most of my legs in here. Might not quite fit just where I am at this moment. But we're gonna bring our legs forward and we're gonna come into our seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. As we move the flesh from our seated bones, we lengthen our arms towards the sky, the legs are forward, little bend in the knees, and we start to forward fold. We're gonna start by trying to keep the spine long. So we might bring our hands just onto the thighs or just onto the shins as we bend the knees. So we imagine we've got that perfect flat back. You can gaze to the toes, another beautiful deep breath in. And then as we exhale, we let ourselves melt over the legs, let the chin come to the chest, and let everything go. We're gonna hold this one for 3 breaths, so just allow yourself to stay here as we come into the breath. And we're gonna explore our message for today. And the message we had was sacred space ritual with the pose of the altar, which is the standing pose. The Vishnu is the omnipresent force that preserves the universe. With the act of creating an altar or sacred space, we are connecting to that energy. Place items representing the 5 elements: earth, air, water, fire, and ether, which is spirit, in your sanctuary. If you're feeling lost, fractured, rituals are acts that bring us back to our center, inner spirit, and guidance. Light a candle, burn incense, bang a gong, smudge with sage, say a blessing. All of these acts remind us that we are part of a greater consciousness. Come to the beautiful sacred space and create a ritual while setting an intention. Well, isn't that appropriate? Because we did set our I am phrase, and this is part of the ritual practice of coming into the yoga session. I am. We let that go. We take one last breath in this forward fold. This time let's round the spine, reaching as deeply as we can. And then we gently start to bring ourselves back up through to seated. Let's come once more. Legs can stay straight or we can cross them, switching them up again. And we're gonna stretch out those shoulders and the hands once again. So we're gonna bring those arms overhead, interlace the fingers the opposite way. So the way that feels weird, not the normal way. And then we start to bring those palms forward again, stop wherever feels appropriate. So start to open up through the arms, shoulders away from the ears, strong core, belly button to spine. Imagine someone's pulling us right from the top of the head. So we lengthen and come into the breath. Really imagine those pinky fingers can go back. So we get a beautiful stretch into the arms and into the shoulders. And then as we exhale, we'll bring the hands down towards the head. We'll gently release them and let them come down to the sides. Well, let's make our way up to standing. We're gonna do kind of a sun salutation variation to come to standing. So from here, we're gently gonna make our way to all fours. We're gonna come through our cat and cow. So make sure those knees are under the hips and the hands are right under the shoulders. And then we just take a deep breath. We let our belly drop. Where shoulders go back, we imagine that the tailbone and the shoulders could touch. Maybe the top of the head could touch. And then as we exhale, we round our chin to our chest, rounding the spine. Let's do that 2 more times. Another deep breath in, really exaggerate. Feel each part of the vertebrae moving. The tailbone and the top of the head could touch. And exhaling, letting them go. The last round here. Deep breath in and slow exhale, letting all that breath release. We'll come through our flat back and then we're just gonna curl our toes under, spread those fingers wide as we bring our seated bones to the sky, and we'll just start to walk our feet towards our hands. Letting everything go, we can just grab opposite elbow if that feels good. Now we are standing, so I always recommend that you do have, if you've got grippy yoga socks, great. But if not, do make sure that you've got bare feet so you don't slide around as we make our way to standing, because I was a little lazy, kept my socks on. And then we're gonna gently grab opposite elbow and let ourselves gently come back into standing. We'll let that go, let those arms be towards the ceiling, and we're gonna come into our altar pose. We're coming into our standing. We're gonna spread our feet So there's about 2 fists between our feet. Spread our toes nice and wide. Bring those shoulders up towards the ears and then down the spine. The first level, strong core, belly button to spine, tucking the tailbone, arms are long, fingers are active, as if we have beams of power coming towards the floor. And then someone's pulling us right from the top of our head. And let's close the eyes. That'll add an extra challenge. If that'll actually affect your balance quite a bit, so you can always close your eyes or just focus on a non-moving spot. And let's internally repeat our I am phrase once again. I am abundantly healthy, prosperous. I am. And then as we let that go, let's gently start to bring those fingers towards the sky. So our arms are just long. You might not be able to see the top of my fingers here, but you're just lengthening towards the ceiling. This is our altar. We're feeling that beautiful power as we lengthen the arms, shoulders away from the ears, feeling grounded, strong core. Another beautiful deep breath in. And while we're here, just taking a moment to contemplate, what rituals do we practice? What rituals in our life? It could be as easy as a ritual in how we get up, drink water, brush our teeth. Do we have a prayer that we say? Do we meditate? Do we do yoga? What is our ritual? And part of that ritual is, again, having a sacred space. Do we have an area that we practice in? Maybe some crystals as we let go of that exhale, we'll let the arms come back down to the side. Just things that maybe we resonate with. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a Bible, maybe it's, like myself, I like intuitive oracle cards. So making yourself that. How do we become that ritual to help our practice? And then as we exhale, let's make our way back to the floor. So standing tall, deep breath in again, and reach those arms. We'll reach for our legs once again. Bend those knees. This time we're gonna bend our knees quite a bit. Imagine we can get the torso right towards the legs. And then if it feels comfortable, you can another beautiful deep breath in here. Exhale, just letting that exhale go. And then slowly on the inhale, tabletop position, flat back. So we're imagining that we're like a complete table. We want that really active core. And then slowly we bring our hands back to the mat, coming back to all fours. And we're gonna come into a child's pose. This is our resting pose, so we can do another round, kind of going inwards and coming back to our I am phrase. So your choice, you can open up those legs nice and wide. If you've got a bolster nearby or have one available, I highly recommend it. It's wonderful. You can put it between your legs and then just let yourself melt over the bolster, bringing an ear to it. Or if there's no bolster, no worries. We just start to bring our torso between our legs, start to lengthen our arms. We're trying to get our seated bones towards our glutes and see if we can get the head to the floor. And we're gonna stay here for a few deep breaths. So as we inhale, letting the torso expand. Exhale, imagine maybe we can get a little bit closer to the mat. And we're checking in as we take these deep breaths. So we're making sure we can fill up the entire torso with this breath. And then imagine that we get a little closer, releasing with that exhale. With our card, our sacred space and ritual, we are being guided that we are all connected and you matter in a world that needs you. The universe is ready for you and your offerings. What is it that you want to create? How do you show up in the world? And what is your legacy? Please don't disregard the voice of your soul and know that you are loved and blessed. Intuition is a choice. It's very beautiful. So we take one last exhale here, just letting ourselves release. We'll slowly start to push ourselves up and away from the floor. And let's come back to where we started this morning, back into a comfortable seated position. You can definitely tell the sun is coming out now. We're coming into a beautiful day. And I feel like this is always the moment when the sun comes in and it's like, ends up being a cloudy day, but the sun comes right in. You know that divine light is shining. It's highlighting that, you're doing the right movements, you're doing the right things, and you're where you're supposed to be. So let's take a final deep breath. We'll rotate those arms one final time overhead. And then as we exhale, bring the hands to heart center. We can internally repeat our I am phrase once again. See those words come across our mind's eye. I am abundant, connected, healed. I am. And then we let that slowly go. And I often will stay here. We'll do, in our traditional class, we would stay here for a few minutes in our recovery pose and then move on with our day. So I highly recommend to sit for a few minutes. Take a moment. It was a very gentle practice, nothing too difficult, just to get everything warmed up and to focus on the mind. So as always, my intention is to help, heal, and serve. And I really hope this did. And I hope the spooky information was not too spooky. I called it spooky information. You know, a healthy person does have 100 wishes. A sick person has 1 wish. So where do we want to be on that? And then also realizing that the third leading cause of death is medical accidents, mishaps. It's just something to consider as you go along, looking for the truth, looking for authenticity. As I say, my purpose is to live, speak, and seek the truth in all forms and help us reconnect to our highest form of authenticity as humanity. We're not authentic. There's a lot of lies and a lot of deceptions. But if we can turn truthfully, we will attract the truth. Until tomorrow, there'll be another daily. Well, hopefully I'll get in and be able to do another live. And we'll just keep working it through. Thank you so much for joining me, my beautiful spiritual beings and my divine colleagues of this earth. And until tomorrow, namaste.